How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figure most journalists would not disclose their sources.
If Sean Combs watches this, what do you think he's going to feel?
Like, wow, this is amazing. I think he's going to say this is the best documentary I've seen in a long time. My favorite villain? I kind of like Diddy.
There are no misconceptions about me.
Yeah, you pressing Bieber?
Yeah.
Yo, what's up? Like, I'm calling you and answering.
Yeah, that was low.
That was weird,
That was crazy.
That was weird. They did not run through Bieber.
There was... Why you not answering your phone like y'all?
One person who was always anti-Diddy and was always speaking about Diddy as a problematic person was 50 Cent. And it turns out that it's just been announced that he's created a docu-series on Netflix. I can't wait to see this. The other end of that, every person who has tried to speak out about this, who has tried to speak out about the industry, the type of people that are controlling.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
I feel funny. Is this real life?
Yes, this is real life.
I feel crazy. The world is spinning around me.
Don't touch your stitches, Justin. Bieber, don't touch your stitches.
What's happening?
No. Bieber, stop.
You have 4 eyes. I have 2 fingers.
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
For years, moments like these were treated as entertainment. Awkward clips were laughed off. Strange exchanges were turned into memes. And uncomfortable energy was dismissed as just another part of celebrity culture. But looking back now, the tone feels different. Because when a young star keeps appearing around powerful adults, and the public keeps seeing moments that feel off, the real question is no longer whether people noticed. It's why so many people chose not to stop and ask what any of it meant. And that is exactly why this story keeps resurfacing. Not just because of Diddy, not just because of Justin Bieber, but because the deeper you look, the more this starts to resemble a pattern that the industry got very good at normalizing.
What's going on with you guys? Are you working together?
I'm not. I mean, I think that we become friends in a strange way,
It's like Robin Big.
Yeah. It's like exactly.
I'm big and you're Robin.
Yeah. No, I mean, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person besides his talent. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
Justin, Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, he could buy you one also while you're out.
He got me a Lamborghini.
That's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Well, apparently not.
What makes this footage so unsettling isn't just the words. It's the dynamic on the surface. It's framed as friendship, mentorship, industry family, protection. But underneath that language is something far more revealing. Access, influence, and a much older power structure, wrapping itself around a much younger star. That is how these relationships are often sold to the public. not as pressure, not as control, but as guidance. And that's what makes it harder to question in real time. Because once the audience is told this is just how the business works, almost everything starts sounding normal, even when it clearly doesn't feel normal.
Look at Usher. What Usher say? I seen some things I shouldn't have been seeing at that age. What does that tell you? That he's seen some things, he was around some things when he was young that he shouldn't have been at a Diddy party. So that's going to show you that there's certain things that are happening that's going on that here it is, this kid was saying he shouldn't even seen it and been around it himself. So all the other celebrities who saw it and they stand quiet about it. Ain't that in our culture? No snitching.
You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bro, you know I know.
This is where the conversation begins to shift from celebrity gossip into something much heavier. Because once former insiders start revisiting the past, the spotlight moves away from isolated moments and toward a larger environment. One where silence, loyalty, and survival often seem to matter more than transparency. And that's the uncomfortable part. In industries built on status, people rarely speak the same way when they are rising as they do when the power around them starts collapsing. What once sounded like praise can suddenly sound like damage control. What once looked like admiration can start to feel like adaptation. And when old statements begin to clash with public discomfort, people start asking a different question. Were these relationships ever as harmless as they were presented to be?
He dropped a song that's so viral and did so much numbers. But it went over our heads. It's actually about P. Diddy. It's actually about P. Diddy this whole time.
Which video?
The song Lonely. Featuring Benny Blanco.
I don't think I've ever heard that song. What?
So, yeah,
Is it a big song?
You definitely heard it. You definitely heard it.
Lonely by Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
What makes Bieber's story resonate with so many people is that his public image always carried two versions at once. There was the global superstar everybody saw, and then there was the young person underneath the fame, overwhelmed, overexposed, and trying to survive an industry that moved much faster than any teenager ever should have to. That is why songs like this hit differently now. Because when an artist starts talking about loneliness, pressure, identity, pain, or feeling lost, fans don't just hear lyrics anymore. They start hearing the emotional cost of growing up in public while being surrounded by adults who may not have protected you the way the world assumed they did. And once that lens changes, the entire archive changes with it.
Guys, the leaked video of Justin Bieber partying with P. Diddy has just emerged and it looks horrifying. Bieber was not in his right state of mind. Here's the video.
Oh, he's bad boy now.
Look at that. Whoa, look at that.
Here's your icon alert.
Look at that.
It's called,
Does that look normal to you guys? What's going on here? He gets down on his knees, starts drinking. Diddy right there. Look at his eyes.
This is the type of footage that would have once been brushed aside in seconds. A clip, a headline, a few jokes, and then the internet moves on. But context changes everything. Because when a public figure is later surrounded by serious scrutiny, older footage stops being random background noise. People go back. They rewatch. They reevaluate body language, tone, setting, age, energy, all of it. And whether a clip proves something or not, it can still reveal why the public feels uneasy. Why certain sin, resurfacing, and why so many viewers now believe those warning signs were visible long before anyone wanted to admit it.
I'm tired of Usher. I wish somebody would come out and just like sue him. Like, we need Usher sued. No, we do. We need a victim to come out and be honest about him. Because what I'm realizing is that he's gonna fake the funk into the victim, man. He's just gonna keep on sucking the devil's. And I don't know, you know, like with a baby, that pacifier, sometimes you gotta pull it out. You know what I'm saying? And take it away, right? When the babies used to sucking on the pacifier. That motherfucker gonna keep sucking on that shit until you do what? Till you take it out the mouth. Now it's gonna scream and holler, but eventually it will get used to the fact that his mouth is no longer full with that object. And that it's time to just, you know, learn how to live without it. He been sucking on Diddy's dick a long time. It's time for him to learn how to make this thing happen without the devil's dick in his mouth or ass.
You don't think if he sued, he'll just Lil Woody the situation and I don't recall? I don't recall.
No, because I think if a victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this shit is. Because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
This is where the conversation becomes volatile. Because once people start framing the industry as a cycle, instead of a series of isolated moments, the stakes change completely. Now the issue is no longer just who had power. It becomes whether power reproduced itself through silence, through fear, and through people learning how to survive systems they should have been protected from in the first place. That is why these claims get so much attention. Not because every statement is automatically proven true, but because they tap into a fear the public already has. That entertainment doesn't just exploit talent. It can also reshape people in ways the audience only understands years later. And if that's even partially true, then this story was never only about one person. It was about what kind of environment keeps creating the same damage over and over again.
Can't smile on your face the whole time.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. What kind of fucking asshole do you gotta be to take another boy, another talented boy?
The most disturbing narratives are rarely the loudest ones. Sometimes they are the ones that force people to revisit decisions that once looked ordinary: mad management, guardianship, mentorship, private access. Industry introductions, on paper, those words sound professional, necessary, even. But when a young artist is being moved through powerful circles before they are emotionally equipped to protect themselves, those same words can start to sound very different. And that's the deeper concern here. Not just who was in the room, but who had the authority to open the door, who benefited from the connection, and who was expected to trust the system without really understanding what that system was capable of taking from them.
To any of those young children that he took to the Flavor Freak off, is he a good guy? Especially considering what happened to him, especially considering that he sat with Howard Stern, and Howard Stern said, would you send your kids to Puffy's flavor can. And his immediate response was, hell no! So it's good enough for everybody else's kids, but it's not good enough for yours. Yours are just good enough to die in Lake Lanier with no real investigation. Got it? Like, these aren't good people!
All right, Jeff.
He's not good! He's a... And the simple fact that fucking Justin Bieber literally made a public statement and said, Usher asked me to do the Super Bowl with him and I turned it down.
And this is exactly why Bieber's later distance from certain people and certain moments keeps drawing attention. Because when someone grows up inside an environment, the public never fully understood. Their decisions later in life can start to look less random and more revealing. The collaborations they avoid, the rooms they no longer enter, the invitations they decline. The emotion that slips through when they talk about protecting someone younger than themselves. Sometimes the clearest thing a person says is not in a direct accusation. Sometimes it's in the boundaries they create after everything they refuse to explain. And for many viewers, that silence speaks louder than any headline ever could.
Because I know what was going through her mind because I've had a chance to ask her that, and it was pretty clear in the video what's going through her mind. She can't even. What was going through your mind when you saw that kind of reaction, and also now in the knowledge that you were just coming out of that space yourself?
I wanted to protect the moment. You know, I don't know how many opportunities I'm gonna get. You know, we never know how many opportunities we're gonna get with anybody. I mean, it just. I'm tearing up thinking about it, just with the Kobe situation, you know? You just never know. And so I just wanted to be a good example, you know? And yeah.
Did you feel protective of her?
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, you know, telling me they love me and, you know, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, you know, she can count on me, but at the end of the day, I'm never gonna force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, you know, let her do her thing, and if she ever needs me, I'm gonna be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters, and yeah. So yeah, I just want to protect her, you know. I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, you know, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
This is one of the most important moments in the entire story, because here Bieber isn't speaking like a tabloid headline or a pop icon. He's speaking like someone who understands what it means to come through an experience he would never want another young artist to repeat. That kind of emotion doesn't come from nowhere. When a person talks about wanting to protect someone else from what they went through, the audience naturally starts asking what exactly left that kind of mark. Not because they need every detail spelled out, but because pain has a way of showing itself even when the full story never gets told. And maybe that is why this moment hits so hard. It shifts the conversation away from gossip and back to impact, away from internet speculation and toward visible emotional residue. Because whatever Justin Bieber lived through in the industry, one thing is clear: he does not speak about protection like someone imagining a hypothetical danger. He speaks about it like someone who understands the cost of not having enough of it.
I watched a video of an interview of Justin Bieber, and he was talking about Billie Eilish. And he was like, he was broke, almost in tears. He's like, I just want to protect her. I just want to keep her safe.
Yeah.
What do you think he went through?
Because he knows what's been happening to Billie. Just like everybody knew what was happening to Millie Bobby Brown, girl. with Drake. These people are monsters. They ran into Dapper Dan in Harlem and they asked him what he thought about what was going on with Diddy and if he knew Diddy. And I love Dapper Dan for this. He said, I grew up with his parents. I knew his parents. He said, and what's going on with him has been going on long before him.
What keeps feeding stories like this is the feeling that the public is always arriving late. By the time people begin connecting dots, the damage may already be old. The careers have already been built. The image has already been marketed. And the audience is left trying to decode emotional fallout from people who learned very early that saying too much could cost them everything. That is why so many conversations around Hollywood don't sound like clean testimony. They sound fragmented, emotional, indirect, sometimes extreme. Because when an industry is built on image, even truth rarely comes out in a neat, polished form. It leaks through fear, through pain, through reaction. Through the way survivors or witnesses struggle to describe what the public was never meant to see clearly.
And if I'm looking at any black guys that are A-listers that's bigger than Diddy, it's only one that I could come up with. And there's a few I could come up with. Will Smith, he's bigger than Diddy. I would think Nick Cannon is bigger than Diddy. Who else on the black that are black actors or black in the business that's an A-lister that's bigger than Diddy, that's black? That's hard to think. But then if you got the A-listers, you know, you got to realize he ran with that that Rat Pack, and I don't want to even say their names because they said I got their names wrong last time. What's his name? Kushner. What's the other guy? Leonardo. Yeah, his name. Man, I don't keep up with these cats. But I heard that that's not only the tape that's being shot. There's some other tapes out there, other people too with him. And him doing some things with some other people. So it's quite a few tapes that might be out there, what they're hearing. And I don't want to see the tapes, but I want to know if they're really true. Because if they got if they got some tapes out there and it's with some underage, whether it's celebrities or not, it's gonna be crazy, bruh.
Whenever talk shifts toward hidden footage, private recordings, or what powerful people may have kept behind closed doors, public fascination spikes instantly. And that's because tapes, rumors, and sealed away material represent more than just possible evidence. They symbolize something deeper, the fear that the truth, whatever it is, may have been circulating quietly among insiders long before the public ever caught up. Now, that doesn't mean every claim should be treated as established fact. But it does explain why these conversations gain so much traction. Because the public has seen this pattern before. Whispers dismissed at first, then old clips resurface. Then insiders start talking. Then suddenly the same culture that once protected power starts looking like it was protecting secrecy. And once people begin to suspect that, every missing piece starts to feel intentional.
I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected.
At this point, the story is no longer being driven by one viral clip. It's being driven by accumulation old interviews, strange jokes, awkward footage, emotional confessions, former insiders speaking differently now than people remember them speaking back then. And when enough fragments start pointing toward the same discomfort, the public does what institutions often fail to do. It goes back and reopens the file. Because maybe the most chilling part of all this isn't that viewers are shocked today. It's that so many of these moments were already sitting in plain sight. What 50 Cent understood early, or at least what many people now feel he was tapping into, is that public image and private power are never the same thing. An artist can look untouchable and still be surrounded by fear. A mentor can be celebrated while people around them feel pressure they don't have the language to describe. A young star can be called blessed, lucky, chosen, while quietly paying a price nobody sees until years later. And that is why this story refuses to disappear. Because it touches a nerve much bigger than celebrity. It forces people to confront how fame often works behind the scenes. Access presented as opportunity, silence presented as loyalty, discomfort presented as normal, and emotional damage revealed only after the cameras have already moved on. In the end, this isn't just about one headline, one rumor, or one resurfaced clip. It's about what happens when a culture becomes so obsessed with fame that it stops questioning the environment surrounding the people it turns into stars. Justin Bieber's story matters not because every question has been answered, but because so many people now see the same thing when they look back a young artist under enormous pressure, surrounded by adults with influence, moving through rooms the public never fully understood. And once that picture becomes impossible to ignore, the bigger question is no longer what the audience missed. It's what the industry saw and chose to call normal anyway.